Sir, I had sent you the YouTube live streaming link to your WhatsApp.
Okay, madam.
Kindly share that in your groups. And
Sure.
here
Sure,
in
madam.
chat box also I am sharing.
Okay, madam. Okay.
Sir, I had sent you the YouTube live streaming link to your WhatsApp.
Okay, madam.
And now I am making you host, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
एक मिनट चाहिए.
Yes, sir. Now you are the host, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, madam. Audible, madam.
Okay.
Kavita, madam, kindly share the PPT.
Yes,
Slide
sir.
one
Yes,
of your PPT, please.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is my screen visible to all? Is it visible to all?
Yes, madam, it is visible.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Okay, okay. Thank you for the confirmation.
Yeah, madam. Sharp at 7:35. We'll start the session, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely okay.
Okay.
Pa pa dha dha pa pa ma ma pa pa. Da dha pa dha da dha pa pa ma ma gha gha. అదే మా మా గ గ అదే ప ప మా మా గ ఘ మా మా. అదే పా పాప మామ గరి గా గా రీ రి గా గా రీ రి అంటే డౌన్లో వచ్చేసా రీ రీ ఓకే మామ గా గా రీ రి గా గా
Dear participants, kindly mute your mics, please. It's my humble request. Kindly mute your mic, please. Uh,
சொல்லு என்ன சொன்ன
Maddu.
Dear participants, kindly introduce yourself through chat box, your name, designation, department, college or institute name, city name, etc.
May I start this session?
Madam, just a minute, madam. Just a minute. Kavita, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just wait for a while, madam.
Okay.
Kavita madam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, madam. Kindly share the screen and
Yes, sir. Yes,
go
sir.
ahead,
Give me
madam.
few seconds only. Few seconds.
Please, madam, please.
So, first of all, very good evening to all the learner, all of the participants who are present here in this 7 days faculty development program. And this is a 7 days faculty development program which is focused on a main topic, innovative and effective teaching techniques, where multiple sessions have been successfully conducted. Where first session was focused to discuss with you people about transforming the classroom and active learning and strategies for student engagement, where another session successfully completed on a main topic that was blended and flipped learning and leveraging the technology for deeper understanding. And today's topic for the discussion is designing the assessment that derive the learning formative and authentic techniques. So let's start the session with the discussion over this topic. So myself, Dr. Kavita Diya, welcome you here in this session. So before starting the session, let's have a quick overview of this session or the over this topic. Where formative and authentic learning or authentic assessment are integral component of modern education practices that providing an essential insights into student learning and growth. Where formative assessments is including quizzes and reflections and different tools that are all ongoing evaluation that helps you the instructor to gauge the students progress and adjust the teaching strategies accordingly. So authentic adjustments that may be included here, that case study, real world projects, that all are designed to bridge the classroom learning with practical application that helping the students to develop their critical thinking and problem solving skill also. So the key difference between formative, summative, and authentic assessments lies in purpose, that timing, that impact. So formative assessments are also designed to continuous feedback, and summative assessments are evaluate the student learning that at the end of the instructional period. While authentic assessment are also focused on real world relevance. So all these together are very important for instructor, where he is evaluating that what actually learned by the learner during the sessions. So these assessments also have used when effectively when they are contributing significantly to student learning and engagement by fostering the continuous feedback, and also encouraging the reflection and promoting the higher order thinking. So after discussing the overview, let's have a quick look at learning objectives of the session. Then we are also the first having objective that make you try to understand that the role of formative and authentic assessment. We'll also discuss here in this session to design the formative assessment for continuous feedback. And here in this session, we are also going to define the usage of technology to enhance the formative and authentic assessment. Here we are also going to evaluate the impact of formative and authentic assessment of the student outcome. So after discussing the learning objectives of the session, let's start the session with understanding the role of formative and authentic assessment, where both of these assessments are crucial in creating the dynamic and effective learning environment in the classroom and out of the classroom too. So these types of assessment also providing a continuous opportunity for students to engage with the material, reflect on their learning and improve their skill too. So they not only serve as evaluative tool, but also as instructional aid that guiding both student and educator towards more effective learning strategies. If I'm talking about the formative assessment, that definition and purpose, that is ongoing assessment that conducted during the lesson or learning process. So typically used by the teacher to gather the feedback about how well students are grasping the material or the content that you are delivering during the session. Unlike the summative assessment, which are also given at the end of the instructional period of the to evaluate the overall learning, formative assessments also occur continuously and inform both teaching and learning practices too. Primary purpose of formative assessment is to monitor the student progress and to identify the different areas where they may be struggling. So by incorporating the regular feedback, educator also can adjust the instruction, provide timely intervention and personalize the learning experiences. This also allows for a more flexible and responsive teaching approach to the educator, and also ensuring that no student fall behind. Common example of formative assessment include quizzes in the class exercise and peer review discussion, reflective journals, and even classroom observation too. So formative assessment is also allowing the students to gauge their understanding and make the necessary corrections before they face more significant evaluator. And this ongoing feedback loop helps build student confidence and to encourage a growth mindset, and where mistakes are as seen as part of the learning process rather than the failure. If there is any mistake conducted by a learner during the assessment, then we are correcting it simultaneously at that time only, because we are assuming that this is quite possible that a student is not getting the point what educator is uh, uh, representing. So authentic assessment is designed to evaluate the student's ability to apply their learning in the real world, their practical situation. Means we are associating the theoretical knowledge with the practical implication too, rather than focusing on rote memorization or theoretical knowledge. Authenticate assessment assess how well student can use their acquired skill to solve the complex problem, where complete tasks and produce work that may mirror the professional and real life challenges. These assessments also are emphasizing more on the process of learning and not just the final product too, where the purpose of authentic assessment is to encourage the student to engage in a meaningful problem solving and ability to synthesize the information. Here, the example of authenticating assessment include project-based learning that we already have discussed in the previous session, case study and simulation and presentation, research papers and debate, and creating the digital portfolio too. So these tasks mimic the real-life situation that student may encounter in their future career and prepare them for the workforce and providing a deeper understanding of the subject matter. And authentic assessments
So
are
this
also
is with regard to
benefits having content
statistics.
that include the
When we
development
want to see
transferable
that
skills
the
such as collaboration, communication, and self-directed learning. And these assessments also help the students to see the relevance of their learning, which can also increase the motivation and also engagement too. So by integrating the authenticated assessment into curriculum, educator also try to bridge the gap between theoretical learning and practical implication, that how this theoretical learning is applicable in the practical situation or practical scenario. So how these assessments contribute to the student learning growth. Before going to start this contribution, let me show you one video that I took to discuss with you or to show with you during this session. This is formative and summative assessment, that a video I took to discuss with you.
Kavita madam,
Yes, sir. Give me 2 minutes, sir. This is the video that I took to differentiate the formative and summative assessment.
yeah, madam, only this video is there, but there is no audio.
No audio?
No audio, madam. Am I right, dear participants? Dear
Yes, sir. No audio.
participants,
Yes, sir.
yeah, no audio.
So if there is no audio, let's go with the session.
Okay.
So, okay. So as I took it to make the differentiation between the formative and summative assessment, which is that formative assessment is that we are doing being an educator during the session, that okay, I'm delivering my session. If I am feeling that okay, any student is having any confusion, any doubt, any problem, any challenge to grab any content, then during this session I am overcoming all these challenges, or I am trying to eliminate these problems, that why the student or that learner is facing that problem. But summative assessment is that is going to be conducted after end of the session or after end of the unit, right? So if I completed suppose a unit, then after end of that unit I may prepare the quiz, I may prepare some question paper, or I may prepare some you know mm, any examination kind of the thing, that I'm getting that such a situation that whether student is getting or understanding the content or not. The difference between these three assessment is only that summative assessment is during the session or during the unit. It is continuous process basically, where summative assessment is at the end of the session or at the end of the unit. But in case of authentic assessment, it is that is assessing that whether this content is practically implicable or applicable in the external environment or not. Whatever I am teaching in the session, in the class, or in any activity, so I am just making it sure that whether the content is practically implicable in the situation in the external environment or not. So how these assessments contribute to student learning and growth. So formative and authentic assessments are working together to enhance the depth of the student learning and personal growth, where formative assessment provide a frequent actionable feedback. Okay, when I am aware that the student or learner is not getting the point that I am explaining, so definitely I may take some corrective measures during the session only. So it is actionable feedback, allowing the students to make improvement in the real time as the session is going on. So this feedback loop foster a deeper understanding of the content, and as students are given opportunity to reflect, revise and refine their work before the summative assessment. Yes, if we are only focusing on summative assessment, then definitely students will also face some problem that okay, sessions completed, now how to revise, how to get that point again, if there is any simplification, if there is any clarification required. So it is quite difficult for student also, and for educator also, that if there is any discrepancy occurring at any given point of time for any content, then real time real time clearance is quite difficult. So authentic assessment, on the other hand, enable the student to connect the learning to the real world context by engaging in the task that mirror the challenge they may face in the workforce or in everyday life. Students gain a deeper, more relevant understanding of the content, and they learn to apply theoretical knowledge in the practical setting, which helps in internalizing and retaining the material. So together, formative and authentic assessment support the development of critical thinking and problem-solving skill. Formative assessments offer immediate insights into area of weakness and encourage the continuous improvement too, while authenticate assessment provide a final test of student ability to apply their learning. So the combination of both encourages the students to take ownership of their learning, foster the independence and self-regulation, as well as the confidence among the students also. And these assessments also foster a deeper student engagement, as they can create an active learning environment where students are constantly involved in their own learning process. Furthermore, the formative assessment promote a culture of ongoing improvement where mistakes are seen as opportunity for growth, and authentic assessments also ensure that students develop their practical skill, prepare them for future challenges in their career and lives. So the benefits of formative and authentic assessments, the first benefit is continuous feedback. Both assessments also provide a continuous feedback loop where these are helping the students to improve their throughout the learning process. Second benefit is motivation and engagement. Yes, if there is any doubt, if there is any clearance required, then definitely they may get the clearance at the same time. Plus, they may get the point cleared that whether this is applicable, whether this is meaningful, whether this is relevant or not, right? So authenticate assessments by making the learning more relevant and meaningful increases the students' motivation and engagement too. Another thing is that holistic learning. Yes, definitely this is very important and major benefit or element of this assessment, that these are holistic learning providing. So these assessments helps the students to develop their critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and other 21st century skills too, which are required in today's scenario. And another thing is real world skill, where authentic assessment prepare the students for real life tasks, making them their learning more applicable in their valuable in their future career. Then student centered learning. Yes, these are not teacher centered learning approach, where teacher is teaching only the content that he is having or he is ready with that, but these are the methodology that we are keeping the student in the center, and these assessments place the student at center of their learning process and their learning capabilities, also encouraging them to take the responsibility of their progress and outcome too. Here, let's compare the formative assessment and authentic assessments with each other. First comparison base is purpose, where formative assessments are designed to monitor and improve the student learning during the instructional process. Their primary aim is to provide ongoing feedback that also help the students to understand their progress, identify the different areas for improvement, and also to adjust their learning strategies too. Here, if I'm talking about the example, then in Indian universities, setting up a professor teaching economics might use the weekly quizzes and short assignments also in a platform like Google Classroom, gauge how well students are grasping the concept like supply and demand. So this feedback also helps the students to identify where they need improvement before the final examination. Plus, this concept or this practice is also giving a feedback to the teacher or educator that where the clarification or simplification is actually required. If I'm talking about another example, then in US-based college, a psychology professor might assign a reflective journal or a small group discussion via on LMS, that we also discussed, that learning management system such as Moodle, to help students reflect on their understanding of psychological theories time. So another is that summative assessment, where summative assessments evaluate the students' overall learning at the end of the instructional period. So these assessments also provide a final measure of the student's achievement, typically in the form of grade or score, and these are also used to get certify the students' progress. And in example is that it may be possible that engineering college, the final university exam at the end of the semester serve as a summative assessment, which is determining whether students have met the learning objectives of the course or not. If I'm talking about the international, that is a university in UK that finalized the research paper submitting at the end of the course on international relation, that would be considered as a summative assessment. Yes, it may be the practice that during the final assessment, university may set this category or maybe no criteria that you are supposed to publish or you are supposed to submit a paper in any international platform to use to evaluate the students' overall grasp of the subject. And in case of authentic assessment assess the students' ability to apply their learning on the real world problem or the task. As we also discussed earlier, that these assessments aim to evaluate the students' practical skill plus creativity, including critical thinking by mimicking the real life challenges. Here, in a business management course at university in India, that can that may be an authentic assessment might involve students catering in marketing. Okay, plan that for a startup, which is then presented to an industry expert. So another base for the differentiation or comparison of this formative, summative, and authentic assessment is the timing of assessment. As we also discussed earlier, that formative assessment is during the session, during the learning process, often repeated and in a smaller interval too. So in face-to-face Indian classrooms, a biology professor might conduct in a short in-class poll and quizzes that we may we can apply at any given point of time, that okay, I taught any concept during the class, okay, during in subject of suppose economics, in subject of suppose psychology, in suppose case of organizational behavior. So I am asking questions during the session that okay, I'm teaching this, after this what you understand, whether this is okay or not, whether this what is answer of this question. So this short quizzes you can you can conduct during the session or during the content delivery too. Even though during the online courses also that I am also delivering this content in the online form, I may ask to the participants, to the learners, that whether you are getting the point or not, right? So summative assessment is that occur at the end of the learning unit, semester and academic year to evaluate the cumulative knowledge and skill students have acquired. So in an Indian college setting, final examination in traditional classroom set up serve as a summative assessment where students demonstrate their comprehensive understanding of the subject at the end of the semester. Internationally, as a university might require students to submit a final research project or dissertation through an online submission system, which will be assessed as a part of the summative evaluation of the course. Let's discuss another comparison basis, that is timing of the assessment in case of the authentic assessment. So this assessment are integrated into learning process and often a part of both formative and summative assessment evaluation, which is more focusing on real world application of the content or the topic that you are discussing. So in hybrid in Indian classroom, the project based assessment such as group presentation on a social issue that can be used to evaluate the students research skill, teamwork and communication. You may give any short activity during the class, that okay, whether this concept is practically implicable, where you can also evaluate the research work of these students plus the collaboration habit among the students, teamwork, group behavior, plus communication among the students. So another is impact on learning. Yes, formative assessments more focus on continuous improvement, offering students opportunity to refine their knowledge and skill throughout the learning process, where professor at Indian University may use the online discussion for to provide a regular feedback to the students about their contribution, and also helping them to improve their research questions, research techniques, and writing skills over a time period. If I'm talking about in case of online courses delivery in digital marketing at UK-based college, that student may receive instant feedback on their weekly assignments through the learning management system, that allowing them to adjust their marketing strategies before the final project submission. Summative assessment, which is which is more final and evaluative, as they determining whether students have met the overall course objectives and often contribute significantly to the final grade or not. Here, if I'm talking about the summative assessment impact on learning during the classroom, that final year examination or project submission that can decide the different factors in whether the student graduate in with honor or meet the degree of the requirement. But in case of online or international context also, when I'm having the students in the international context through online mode, in that case, suppose in university in Australia, students final examination for a major course like anthropology might contribute 70% of the total grade and influencing their overall academic standings also. If I'm talking about the authentic assessment, then this have a significant impact on student engagement plus learning by connecting the theoretical knowledge on the practical application. Yes, we are engaging them with more practical activities rather than passive learning, that a student is sitting on in a class and he is just only absorbing or listening the content or hearing the content, and learn educator is just only delivering the content. It is more student engaging and learning technique. So in case of engineering college in India, that authentic assessments like designing the sustainable solution for a community that can deepen the student engagement with the real world problem and enhance their learning experiences too. They are getting point that how this sustainable development is also becoming a very important part of nowadays social and environmental issues. In case of international context, suppose a University of Canada that might evaluate the medical students through clinical simulation, providing them with an opportunity to apply theoretical knowledge in a controlled but realistic setting. What are the best practices for incorporating both type of assessment? That starting with the integrated formative assessment regularly, use quizzes, assignments, and deeper review during the learning process to monitor and support ongoing students' progress, both in offline and online environment. Another is use summative assessment to evaluate the comprehensive understanding. The design final exam or project that reflects the cumulative learning outcome of their entire course, ensuring they align with their learning objectives too. Another is that incorporate the authentic assessment for real world learning, that is providing an opportunity to the students to apply their knowledge in the practical scenario, that may be with the help of case studies, simulation, or with the help of the project-based task. Yeah, that is more associated with the content or the topic that you are teaching in the session or during the class. That are both formative and summative. Another is use technology to enhance the assessment. Yes, Leveraging the platform like Google Classroom, Moodles, and Canvas for formative assessment that create the opportunity for assessment in the online courses, that collaborative project or digital portfolios. Then designing the formative assessment for continuous feedback is that formative assessments are really crucial aspect for modern educational practices that all are aiming at evaluating the students' learning plus providing the instructor with a real-time feedback that is during the course. So unlike the formative assessment with a typical that take place at the end of the learning period, formative assessments are designed to monitor the progress and providing the ongoing feedback for both student plus teacher. So formative assessments are also crucial aspect in modern educational practices aiming at evaluating the student learning and providing the instructor with the real-time feedback during the courses, whether online and offline. You need to conduct the formative assessment during the session only. So these assessments also help to identify the students' strength, areas of improvement, and misconception that all are enabling the instructor to adjust their teaching strategies accordingly if these are required any changes. So primary goal of formative assessment is to support the I would request to the participants kindly do not make any changes on my screen. I am getting disturbed. So the primary goal of formative assessment is to organizers kindly do not give rights to the participant to make any changes on the screen. So it is going to support the learning process rather than merely evaluating it. So this makes formative assessment a continuous dynamic process that is somehow fostering the engagement and accountability. Also, the deeper understanding of the subject matter on part of both educator and learner. So by using the formative assessment, instructor can also gather a meaningful data on students' performance and helping Govinda Reddy, whoever is, kindly do not make any change over my screen. I request you, please control. Otherwise, I may refuse your participation. So by using the formative assessment, instructor can collect the can gather the meaningful data, can collect the feedbacks from the students' performance, and also helping them to refine their teaching method and adjust the lesson pacing and introduce the additional learning process resources when these are required. In both online and offline learning environment, formative assessments can take various forms like quizzes, like polls, like exit tickets, reflections, and collecting the feedback. So these assessments are typically low stake, meaning they do not carry significant grade, but they play a crucial role in promoting the learning and improving the retention of the knowledge. If I'm asking again and again a few questions during the session, that okay, whether this concept is clear to you or not, whether this concept is requiring any other simplification or not, whether there is any extra focus or any on any topic is required or not. So I'm getting real time feedback out of from these students. So it is more meaningful. Also, it is not providing any no quantified measurements to me that yes, these were students understood my content, or these number of the students got the point that I am delivering. But sometimes it is giving me the motivation too that okay, how many students were sitting in the class? Majority of students were getting the point that I was teaching. So in context of higher education, universities and colleges worldwide are increasingly integrating formative assessments into the curriculum. For example, online platforms like Google Form, Kahoot, and Quizlet, all are widely used for conducting the formative quizzes while reflecting the journals and peer evaluation that encourage deeper learning and critical thinking from among the students. So let's discuss creating the quizzes and reflection polls and exit tickets for ongoing students feedback. So first thing is that quizzes. At University of Delhi, computer science professor uses the online quizzes via platform like Google Form to regularly assess the students and understanding the programming concepts such as loops and functions. This is daily practice that you can adopt, that okay, in your group, maybe through WhatsApp or through Google Form, you are giving some questions, a group of questions or a quiz, giving to the learners that yes, today we discussed this concept or this content, and you are supposed to answer these questions, which are also very simple, but still we are evaluating through this questionnaire or through this quiz. So this quiz help to identify the different topics that require further explanation, allow the instructor to tailor flow of lesson based on the quiz results. Another example is that Harvard University utilizes the Canvas LMS to create weekly quizzes and for sociology courses. These quizzes are more focused on testing the students' understanding of social theories such as Marxism or feminism. Immediate feedback is provided, allowing the instructor to adjust the lesson if students show difficulty in the comprehending key aspects. So another is reflection. Reflection is nothing but that what you what you taught, what you explained during the session, whether this is reflecting in the learner's behavior or not, right? So suppose I taught learning theories in psychology during the session. Suppose I taught group behavior during the organizational behavior, right? So whether these theories, whether this concept is exactly understood by the learner or not, whether this content is reflecting in his behavior or not. So at MT University, students of history courses are assigned weekly reflection journals where they reflect on lessons such as India's freedom struggle. These reflections help the instructor to gauge the student's ability to connect theoretical events to contemporary issues, allowing professors to provide targeted guidance on critical thinking and historical analysis also. Same at the case of University of London, that where students in psychology courses submit the reflection on topic like cognitive basis. So these journals enable the instructor to gauge the students' understanding and identify the different areas with additional support or clarification is required or not. If required, then we'll plan the session accordingly. Then creating quizzes, reflections, and polls, X tickets for ongoing students' feedback. That one is poll. So at Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, marketing professors use real-time poll through Zoom during the hybrid lecture, right? So suppose I am teaching in the session through PPT. At the same time, I am also dropping the poll or I'm dropping the quiz during the through Zoom meeting also. So this is hybrid mode, that you are dropping the poll for the session through online mode also. Then same at the case of Stanford University professor that use the poll everywhere during environmental sciences lecture to gauge the students' opinion on the climate change. So real-time data from poll allows the instructor to adjust discussions and address any misconceptions or concern raised by the students during the session or related to the session. So another thing is exit ticket. In case of IIT Bombay, where professor in physics course use the exit ticket to assess the students' understanding of concept like Newton law, right? So when he taught the Newton law, he was asking the questions or the concept that he taught when he was leaving the session or when he was leaving the classroom. For example, student may ask to provide a real world application of the concept, allowing the instructor to gauge how well students can apply theoretical knowledge in the practical scenario. If I'm talking another example, then University of California, Berkeley, that mathematics professor also used the exit ticket at the end of the each online class. Yes, we may also apply. I may also, I am also applying that if there is any question, or I may also ask that how you will apply or how you will find this applicable in the real world scenario. So students are required to submit what they found most useful and what they still do not understand. This feedback help the instructor plan the next class to clarify the difficult concepts. Then what are the different, what are the different strategies for using the formative assessments to guide the instructional decision? Where the first thing that you need to take care that using the data to identify the gap in the learning. That at Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi University, economic professor review the weekly formative assessment to identify that students are struggling with the supply demand concept or not. Right, based on the this feedback, additional online resources such as videos or supplementary readings are provided to strengthen the concept. Yes, you may also apply this method that okay, if you are not getting my point, then in that case you may get the assistance of other resources like maybe supplementary readings that okay, this book is also available, this journal is also available, this video is available, this concept is also elaborated in this online platform. So you may use this. At the University of Melbourne, biology instructor use the formative assessment to determine that many students are having difficulty understanding genetic inheritance. Based on this data, professors just adjust upcoming the lesson to provide more examples and conduct the extra session to clarify these challenges during the session. Another strategy that you may use for formative assessment to guide instructional design, that is adapting pacing based on the feedback, where NIT professor Trichy reviewing the feedback from formative quizzes in thermodynamics. The data shows that many students are not keeping up with the pace of the courses, and as a result, the pacing is slowed down and additional time was allocated or is allowed to allocate for more practice problem and one-on-one consultation with the struggling students. So at University of Sydney, English literature professor also adjusted a pace of their course on Shakespeare plays based on the results for formative assessment. These feedbacks indicate that students are having difficulty with some of the more complex tests, so that instructors spend extra time on specific scenes and provide more detailed explanation too. Then personalized learning, that University of Mumbai formative assessment helps the instructor to identify the students who are struggling with the reading comprehensive in literature, and based on this professors also provide personalized reading material and also offer additional support during the office hours to help the students to catch up with the content. Then let's define the authenticating assessment, where authentic assessments are designed to evaluate the student's ability to in such a way that mirror real world challenges. Unlike the traditional assessments, which often more focus on rote memorization or theoretical knowledge, authentic assessments encourage the students to demonstrate their skills and understanding tasks that closely resemble the complexities of the outside world. So what are the examples of authentic assessment that in higher education, both online and offline teaching environments offer ample opportunities to integrate the authentic assessments? Here, let's explore the real world example for both Indian and international context that in the case of both online and offline environment, authenticate assessment can effectively integrate by using the technology to replicate the real world task. For instance, education students can work on collaborative projects using the digital tool like Google Classroom, Slides, and Trello for project management, and this allow them to manage the task, share the documents, and receive the feedback in real time. That is also promoting the teamwork and communication skills necessary in the personal environment. Another is that additionally, online learning tool like Padlet, Flipgrid, and Canva that can be used for creating the multimedia content and conducting the virtual data debate for or developing the marketing campaigns, making the learning experiences more interactive and aligned with the real world challenges also. So importance of rubric, informative assessment, and authentic assessment are that rubrics are essential tool for both formative and authentic assessment as they provide a student with a clear, detailed outline of how their work will be evaluated. So by breaking down the expectations for each assignment or the project into specific criteria, rubric ensure the transparency in grading process. You are clearly defining that these are the different bases, these are the different criteria on which basis we are going to evaluate your assignment or your your performance. So this is only guiding students in understanding what is. Organizers, I would request you to please kindly not allow the participants to make any change over the screen, please. So this is not only guiding the students in understanding what is expected of them, but also allow the instructor to maintain the consistency and fairness in their evaluation. So in both formative, that is ongoing, and authenticated, that is a real world application assessment, rubrics are crucial for making the evaluation process both clear and meaningful, and formative assessments often focus on measuring the students' progress and providing the feedback, while authentic assessments aim to replicate the real world challenges. In both cases, rubric clarifications or clarify how students' ability, understanding, and skill will be assessed, whether throughout the quizzes and case studies, including projects and presentations too. So let's discuss how to design the rubric that sets the clear expectations and ensure the consistent grading too. So rubric is that representing different criteria, different categories that you are including in the evaluation process. So designing the effective rubric is really essential for setting up the clear expectations, categories, criteria, that also ensuring the consistent grading. So rubric guide the students in understanding how their work will be evaluated and provide the instructor with the systematic method for assessing the assignments, projects, and exams. So the first step under this process is align rubric with the learning objectives. Yes, whatever the criteria or whatever the parameters you are taking in the rubric, you need to align all those parameters, those criteria with the learning objective of that content or of that delivery, that topic, that what the major learning objective of that topic was. Accordingly, you need to categorize the rubric. So each criteria in the rubric should reflect in the specific skill or concept that students are expected to learn. Then define the criteria clearly. Yes, you need to define the criteria very clearly, and you need to communicate all these criteria to the learner also that, okay, these are the different criteria on what basis your performance is going to be evaluated. For example, in a project-based learning assignment, a rubric could include the following criteria. Suppose the research depth, analytical thinking, creativity, innovation, presentation, collaboration. Here we are making all these measurable, that 20%, 25%, 15%, 20%, 20%. These are quantified clarification of the different criteria. Then another step is use Likert scale or performance level if you are no clarifying or setting the rubric criteria. So to evaluate the students' work clearly and consistently, rubric often use the performance level, that may be 5-point scale or 4-point scale or 3-point scale, whatever you are using. So example 4 is excellent, 3 is good, satisfactory, and need improvement. So these 4 point or any point like your convenience or like your your interest, you can select, but you need to communicate all these well in advance to the learner that, okay, these are the different criteria that we are evaluating your performance on the basis. Then describe the specific performance indicator in each level. For each criterion, define what constitute excellent, good, satisfactory, and need improvement work. So clear descriptions of each level will help both students and instructor to understand what level of performance looks like. So more specific description and more useful the rubric will be. For example, the excellence, good, satisfactory, and need improvement. So make the rubric simple and easy to understand. Yes, if you are making it more complicated, that is only understandable by you, then how students will understand that? So need to keep that simple and easy to understand, where student can get the exact information that you are supposing to understand. So for example, a business management course include in rubric for evaluating the business proposal, breaking down the evaluation criteria into executive summary, financial projection, and market research with a simple description of each level. Then be transparent and share rubric in advance. Yes, you need to be transparent. You need to share rubric in advance to the learners that, yes, these are the different criteria under the rubric that we are evaluating your performance on the basis. Then review and revise rubric based on the students' feedback. Okay, you collected the feedback from the students. Yes, these were the criteria, these were the parameters on what basis your performance is going to be evaluated. If there is any certain change suggested by the students, okay, these were the criteria, but still we suggest this criteria to be changed with this or replaced with this. So you need to be open to make to review your rubric plus to revise your rubric if it is required. Then use rubric for self-assessment and peer feedback also. Yes, you can use your rubric for self-assessment, where student internally evaluate the performance and engage more deeply with their work. Plus, the peer review feedback is also maybe used where their peer themselves are also evaluating the performance of their peers. Then align the rubric with the learning objectives that as I told you that you need to align your rubric with the learning objectives, and then incorporate the multi-level of the rubric that achievement. Yes, rubric should include the different level of the performance, excellent, good, fair, need, improvement, to guide the students to understand how to reach higher standards. And for example, online programming course at MIT, rubric could define the level such as code efficiently and elegantly versus code with the some error and efficiency. So peer and self-assessments are a valuable tool in the modern educational landscape, where you are helping the students to engage more deeply with their learning and reflect on their progress and improve their academic learning, academic skills. Both type of assessments enable the students to develop their critical thinking self-regulation, and collaboration skills, which are also essential for their overall growth and future professional success too. So what are the benefits of peer review and self-assessment for the student reflection and growth? So the benefit of this peer review is that encourage the reflection and self-regulation. That is self-assessment, encouraging both students to reflect on their own work and compare it with their peers and understand their strength and weakness. And this process also helps them help the students to regulate their learning by identifying the areas they need to improve. Suppose in case of Jawaharlal University, that might require to assess their own essay and reflect on their own understanding of the course's material, that this reflects the need to lead them to critically evaluate their learning and make necessary adjustments before the submission. So another benefit is that it is fostering the critical thinking and analytical skill among the learners, where peer assessment also helps the students to develop their critical thinking by analyzing and evaluating their work. And they also learn to identify the key components of high quality work and apply those criteria to their own and other outputs also. So Stanford University in the United States, students in a design thinking course participate in peer review process. They also evaluate their analyze each other's prototype and provide the feedback for their work too. Then improve the collaboration and skill communication, where in online environment, students in international business courses at University of Phoenix may be required to evaluate the peer case studies on global and marketing strategies, which is providing a feedback through the online learning management system. And this is also enabling the students to communicate effectively and collaboratively regardless of the physical distance. So another is promoting the accountability and ownership of the learning. When students are involved in evaluating their peer work, they take on a greater sense of responsibility for their learning, and peer assessments make students more accountable as they know their work will be evaluated by their classmates. So Indian University, like University of Delhi, where peer assessment is frequently implemented in group projects where students evaluate each other's performance or contribution to the project. Then another benefit is improved collaboration and communication. Definitely, when students are engaged with each other's project, then this is definitely improving the collaboration and group work among the students. Then promoting the accountability and ownership of learning. Yes, when students are involved in evaluating their peers' work, they take on a greater sense of responsibility of their learning. Yes, if I am aware about the concept, then only I can evaluate the performance of another person. So it is somehow increasing my responsibility, my accountability, plus my ownership of over my learning too. So what are the different strategies for implementing the peer and self-assessment effectively? Where first strategy that you may adopt, that's set clear guidelines and expectations. Yes, first you need to set out the clear guidelines and expectations and parameters, your regulations, what you are expecting, that need to be clear, specific, measurable, time bound, and quantifiable. Then provide training to the effective feedback, that yes, you need to give a training to the student or to the learner, that yes, you are going to be part of peer assessment or self-assessment, so you need to be fair, you need to be clear that what actually your role is, what we are expecting from you. So students should be trained on how they to provide the constructive feedback. They should be taught to focus more on specific actionable points rather than general comments. Then integrate the peer and self-assessments into learning process regularly. where peer and self-assessments for to be effective, it should not be one-time activity, and you need to conduct it on regular basis so that participants or students themselves will learn from this process again, because they finally they are learners, finally they are students. So if they are doing any wrong practice, if they doing any mistake, then finally in again a second process they will correct it, they will overcome that problem on their own part, then make peer and self-assessment in two-way learning experience. Yes, encourage students to engage in two-way feedback where they both receive feedback from peers and reflect on the feedback that they give. Suppose in case of offline classroom at NID, students are asked to evaluate their peer design work and simultaneously reflect on their own design process. Then use the technology to facilitate peer and self-assessment. Yes, you can get the assistance of technology also with the help of LMS through online platform, or self-assessment by automating this process, ensuring the timely feedback and enabling the anonymity. So in case of suppose in case of University of Oxford, peer review in a business management course are facilitated through an LMS. Using the technology to enhance the formative and some authentic assessment, that in modern education, as we know that technology is also becoming important part, integral part of every sector. So we also cannot assume that educational area or a teaching area is not in touch with the technology. So you can also get the assistance of technology to make your teaching process more easy and flexible too. So what are the different tools and platforms that are supporting the formative and authentic assessment? That first one is Google Form. You are collecting of a few questions, you are preparing your Google Form, and you are you are sharing this Google Form with the learners, that yes, this is quiz, that is a questionnaire that we prepare associated with the content, associated with the topic, and we are collecting your feedbacks or your reviews over that topic through this form. So through this Google Form. So at the University of Delhi, where professor teaching the introductory economics use the Google Form to create the weekly quizzes that also test the students' comprehension of previous work lecture. Then Kahoot, yes, Kahoot is also another good important platform that you may use for quizzes, for poll, for survey, with a gamified format, right? Where student is involving himself or herself with this platform in a gaming style, which is also encouraging the active student participation. Kahoot also provide immediate feedback, enabling the students to see the correct answers and explanation right after each question. Then Padlet, which is another digital platform that allows for creation of interactive board, where the students can post the responses throughout the thought and multimedia content, which is also particularly useful for authentic assessment, as students can collaborate, share resources, and create the presentation in real time also. Turnitin is also another plagiarism detection tool that also offer a feedback feature that helps the educator to assess the originality of the student's work, and also ensuring the student is engaged in the authentic assessment by producing their own idea or not. Here, let's discuss integrating the technology to provide the timely feedback and track the students' progress in the real time, where the first thing is real-time feedback. Technology also enabling the educator to provide the feedback instantly after formatting assessment, and it is including the quizzes and interactive poll, where Amity University at Noida, professor also using the Google Form to create online quizzes for their subject business management to the students. So another is progress tracking. Digital platforms such as Google Classroom, Moodles also allow the instructor to track the students' progress over a time. Where University of Oxford, a professor uses Moodle to track the students' progress in the literature course, where Moodle provides a detailed analysis of student performance to on assessment, assignment, quizzes, and peer review. Then personalized learning pathway, where many digital platforms or tools such as Scotting, Dipless, and DPuzzle, and all these offer a personalized learning feature. So these tools also allow the instructor to tailor the assessment based on the student's individual learning need, helping them to progress at their own space. Then peer and self-assessment, yes, tools like Google Doc or Padlet enable the students to review and provide the feedback on each other's work, helping them to learn from their peers and refine their own work. Providing the constructive feedback, that the best practice for assessor, that is providing, providing the constructive feedback is one of the most vital aspects of the learning process. Feedback not only helping the students to understand their mistakes, but also guiding them to make certain improvements if these are required. So techniques for giving the timely and specific and actionable feedback, that you may use the timely feedback first. Yes, you need to give the feedback within a relevant time period so that student himself can take corrective measure if these are required. Suppose JNU in online courses, social sciences professor use Moodles to give the timely feedback on weekly assignments. Then specific feedback, yes, you need to give a specific feedback. Yes, good job, nice job. These are some ambiguous term. Good means what? So you need to quantify the things. Yes, this much. Then actionable feedback, yes, if the action is required, some corrective measure need to be taken, then you need to give the actionable feedback. Yes, there is something wrong, you need to correct it in this way. Suppose at IIT Bombay, professor teaching computer science courses use the platform like GitHub for student submission. If student's code is not functioning correctly, the feedback may say that refactor your function to reduce the complexity and use the built-in sorting the method and test for edge cases using the sample data. Ensuring the inclusivity in the assessment design. Yes, inclusivity in the assessment design is crucial aspect of modern situation or education. It is also vital in ensuring that all students or all learners, regardless of their background, ability, and learning style, have the equal opportunity to demonstrate their understanding for and achievement academic success. So and inclusion of is not just about providing students with the accommodation, but also about embracing the diverse learning need and perspective and the experience. This concept is especially important in higher education, where they are having their different culture, their social background, their demographic background, economic background. Then you need to plan your session accordingly. Then inclusive assessment also involve thinking about how various factors such as disability, language barriers, prior knowledge, different cognitive abilities, all these are impacting the student's performance. Furthermore, it also go beyond that. Just modify the test format to include the criterion for assessment that challenge the students to think critically and apply the knowledge in the real world context and reflect their learning journey. So let's discuss designing the assessment that are fair, accessible, and inclusive for all students. That universal design for learning. That is a framework that aimed at meeting the diverse need of the learner by providing the multiple means of the engagement, representation, and expression also. Where this designing assessment are fair and accessible, which is inclusive for all students, that is adjusting the assessment format. So Assessment format should be very flexible enough to accommodate the different learning styles and ability. For example, some students may have the difficulty with the traditional timed exam. Then alternatively, formats such as project-based assessment, take-home exams, portfolio might be more appropriate. Another is clear instructions and language. Yes, you need to select the clear, concise and simple language and avoiding the complex jargon and overly complex wording also. Then use the technology for personalization. Yes, if technology is easily available, then use that platform which is easily accessible to the learner. So platform like Google Form, Padlet, Kahoot allows the customization for assessment of to fit the individual need. Then providing the multiple formats for the feedback. Yes, you can use the multiple format for the feedback. That okay, if this is not accessible, you may go with this. So offering the feedback in various formats such as written form, audio feedback, video recording. All these help the learner to cater the different learning preferences and ability too. Then allow the flexible time. Yes, sometimes time constraint itself is not allowing the learner that he's somehow not able to give exact feedback on that hour of time, so hour of the day. So you need to adopt the flexible timeline for the assessment. And then collaborative assessment, that where students work together to solve the problem and complete the projects, that can be particularly effective for promoting the inclusivity. Then differentiated instructions. Yes, sometimes differentiated instructions are also required, where all students are not having the same level of intellectual capability. So this involves providing a range of assessment options for oral assessment to written reports, enabling the students to choose how they wish to demonstrate their learning. That need to be flexible. So evaluating the impact of formative assessment and authentic assessment on the student outcome, that is for ensuring that they contribute positively to the student learning and academic growth too. And the purpose of these assessments is not merely to evaluate the students' performance, but also to provide the feedback that can help the students to improve their performance and to refine their learning too. So how to assess the effective formative and authentic assessment? Then the steps that you need to take care, or the impact you need to take care, is that student performance improvement. Then you need to take care that engagement and motivation of the students, then students self-reflection, then achievement and achievement of learning goals. And then you also need to identify the learning gap, that what actually the standards we fixed and what the actual performance of the learners is, and why this gap is. You need to identify that gap and you need to correct that gap, or you need to fill that gap. So analyzing the data from assessments to inform the teaching practices and to improve the students' engagement. Then you need to personalize the instruction. Yes, sometimes you need to personalize the instructions according to the learner's capability. Then enhance the collaborative learning. Yes, if it is required, then you need to enhance that. You need to take certain corrective measures. Then collect the student feedback. And here, let's conclude the session, where formative and authentic assessments are the key to enhance the students' learning by providing the ongoing feedback and real-world connection. Formative assessments such as quizzes, polls, and exit tickets help the instructors adjust their teaching method and monitor the students' progress in real time. Authentic assessment include the case studies and projects, link classroom learning with the real-world application, foster the critical thinking and practical skill. So the formative assessments are also continuous and support learning development, while summative assessments evaluate overall learning at the end of the course. And authentic learning are also distinct by their focus on real world relevance. And the best practice for integrating both formative and summative assessment include aligning both them with the learning goal and using them to guide the instructions. A rubric also play a crucial role in creating a clear expectation for both formative and authentic assessment, ensuring the consistency in grading, where peer and self assessment encourage the reflection and independent learning and focusing more on students' growth. So inclusive assessment also designed that ensure all students, regardless of their learning style and their ability to, all these have access to fairly evaluate the process. So here we are at the end of the session where we make to try to make you understood about the role of the formative and authentic assessment. We also discussed in this session to design the formative assessment and for the continuous feedback. We also defined the usage of technology to enhance the formative and authentic assessment. And we also try to evaluate the performance impact of formative and authentic assessment on the students' outcome. If you are having any query related to this session or related to any previous session, you can ask your query through dropping your query in the chat box, as well as you can ask your query through unmuting yourself too.
Thank you very much, madam. So as the speaker madam rightly said, the session is open for discussion. You can clarify your doubts through chat box or unmuting your mics. We have another 8 minutes of time. Dear participants, kindly clarify your doubts through chat box or unmuting your mics. Yeah, good evening, madam. Kindly introduce yourself and go ahead with your question, please. Yeah, please. Dear participants, SJ Sujata madam, thank you, madam. Anybody else? Any doubt, any question, any clarification? My JPG. Thank you, madam. Through chat box. Shilpa madam, Dr. Shilpa, thank you, madam. Dr. P. Prashant Babu sir, thank you, madam. Akash RS sir, thank you, madam. Yeah, dear participants, anybody else? Shakti Prakash sir, thank you, madam. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, these are the messages which are there in chat box. So we have another 6 minutes of time. Any doubt, any question? Dr. Seema Malik, she said, thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Any question, any doubt, any clarification? Nagi sir, thank you. Thank you, madam. Josil D, thank you. Any doubt, any clarification? Dear participants, Vishwas sir, through chat, thank you, ma'am. Gloria Jemmy, assistant professor chemistry, thank you, madam. Thank you, team. Anybody else? Josil D said it's good and very informative. Thank you very much. Anybody else? There is one more by some iPhone Alpha. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Dear participants, Sandeep Kaur Gill. Thank you all team members. Thank you very much. Dear participants, any doubt, any question, any clarification? We have another 4 minutes of time. Dr. Ritu. Thanks, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much, madam. Anybody else? So, speaker madam, if there is
Yes,
no
sir.
question, shall we stop here?
Yes, sir. We may stop here.
So with this, we'll stop here. Once again, we'll meet virtually tomorrow uh, at 7:30 p.m. So till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you, speaker madam. Thank you, participants. Good night, speaker madam. Good night, participants.
Good
Thank you,
night,
sir.
sir. Good night, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night,
Thank you so
madam.
much. And thank you to all the participants who are present here.
Thank you, madam. Good night, madam.
My presentation.
Nidhi madam, kindly mute your mic, please. Nidhi madam, kindly mute your mic, please.